Hey, it's me, Gary the Expert. I hope you're having a fantastic day. I go by Gary the Expert because I specialize in helping people with addiction right now and depression. I'm not a specialist in, people on the spectrum or extreme mental health disorders like schizophrenia, anorexia, but I have been a personal addict and I've also been trained in terms of helping people with addiction. I've also got over 100 testimonials where I've helped various people recover from addiction, cocaine, gambling, porn, and depression, mental health, anxiety challenges that they're facing. In this episode, in the last episode, I mentioned about the relapse rate. I gave you a parallel example. In this episode, I'm going to share some of those reasons of why people relapse and maybe what some of those reasons that we can do with it. I've written this blog on my website, garytheexpert.com. And this blog is why is the relapse rate so high at 85% and 6 reasons why. So if you want to find it, you can find it on the website. I'm going to give a skim through on today's episode. Before I do give you those 6 reasons, and there's not just six, there's about 106. There is no way I could pinpoint 6 reasons why, but I'm going to give you 6 reasons today in why someone relapses. Okay, so before I do that, again, the sponsor of the podcast is Quasi.com, which is a travel comparison site, and also Upskill Online. If you want to get a free course, go on to Upskill. There's 10 free courses there for you, ready to just start watching and playing. Hopefully you grow yourself. If you find this podcast beneficial, helpful to you in some way, shape, or form, amazing. Leave a rating, leave a like, maybe even subscribe if you're on YouTube. That'd be awesome. Comment below, maybe a struggle that you're having, a question a query that you have, and I can create a video on that, or I can create a podcast on that. With that being said, my own website, garytheexpert.com, is in the link of this. If you want to book a free discovery call, you can. No reason not to, especially if you're struggling with cocaine addiction. I too was a cocaine addict and I will overcome it personally. Over half a decade ago was the last time I took cocaine, and I have no hesitation, no doubt in my mind that I'm not going to take it tomorrow. I'm not going to take it today, tomorrow, next week, next month, next year, next 5 years, next 10 years. I don't know about 50 years. But I know for the next 5, 10, 15, 20, 25 years, I ain't going near that substance. So why is the relapse rate so high? And here are 6 reasons how we can, let's say, adjust or look at this. And then hopefully with the data and these reasons that I have, that you'll be able to look at yourself and see why you keep failing. And it's normal to fail, but it's not normal to continue on failing for the rest of your life. So cocaine ultimately trips your dopamine system without a doubt. Number one reason is, addiction does change your brain. So you are literally wired up completely differently to, let's say, a person who doesn't take cocaine. What do I mean by that? Your reward system, if I hooked you up to a scanner, if we flashed pictures of drugs, of partying, of alcohol, or, rooms and, this drug and that drug, your brain would be on fire. Literally on fire. Your brain would be lighting up so much places. There is so many neurons that are firing away with these. Just your brain's craving it, basically. Your brain's loving it. Your brain's fantastic about it. And that's, I would say, right up wrong. Now, wrong is a very, very subtle word I'll use. It's not an extreme word I'm using, but I would say it's wired up wrong. So, therefore, clearly, also same thing again. If we showed you pictures of nature, if we showed you pictures of like food or countries, right, your brain wouldn't light up as much as this cocaine because it literally has changed your brain ultimately. Now, changing out of that, meaning it's obvious that people relapse because their brain is absolutely addicted to it. Their body is absolutely addicted to it. I'm not thinking about moving my arm in the air right now. I'm not thinking about that. So consciously, I can say I don't want to do that, but my body is moving that arm, and it's if my body craves my body, not my mind. If my body craves a certain thing, well, then I'm ultimately going to move in that direction. Why? Because my brain is wired for that thing. Now that's very, very high level details that I'm giving you, but again, cocaine spikes your dopamine way higher than so many great things in life: a walk in the park, nature, love, sex. It is an absolute trap and beyond belief. So why do people relapse? And particularly around this instance where your brain has been changed, your brain is wired completely for cocaine. It takes about 180 days which is 6 months or longer for your brain to start rewiring. And it does. Your brain is neuroplasticity. You can constantly rewire your brain at any age. An old dog can't learn new tricks. That's not true. It's literally not true. At any age, you can learn new tricks and you can constantly rewire your brain, which is a very positive thing to know. So if you think you're in cocaine addiction for 25 years and you think, oh, that's it, I'm screwed, I'm dialed in this way. Trust me, it's not going to be an easy journey, but for sure, you can still rewire your brain. It might honestly take 10 years after that 25-year stint for you to get to a place where you are just completely strong, solid, enjoying yourself and loving going forward, because that's how much damage we would say you possibly done to yourself. Okay, next on the list is, overconfidence. And I see this in clients constantly. I have 4 sessions and they're like, I feel good. I'm at 4 weeks sober. This weekend, I might go out with friends. I'm not sure just yet, but overconfidence. It's very interesting. The overconfidence, you do need to be confident. You do need to be confident that you're not going to do it this weekend, and you need to be stand strong on that. And standing strong on that will be beneficial for you not to say yes to that instance that comes up on a Saturday. But there's also an element of overconfidence where you say, I don't need help anymore. Like, my brain's wired perfectly now. I'm ready to go. I don't need any assistance. I can stop doing these sessions. I cannot tell you to continue doing the sessions. It's your own life. It's your own finances. But if you've done cocaine for 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, if you think 4 weeks is going to be enough time for you to say, nah, look, I'm good because I've been 4 weeks sober, I can easily do 6. This is why the relapse rate is 50% after 3 months. It's why it's 85% after 1 year. Overconfidence. You need to do it for about 6 months. And you can do it weekly for about 4 months and then do bi-weekly for the next 2 months. Now, I say that with, honestly, you possibly will need to do 1 or 2 a month after that. But that's only to keep guardrails. It's only, just think of the person that's supporting you is like a bowling alley, and they're just the guardrails on the side. You're the bowling ball, you're going down, you're going to hopefully hit a strike here. But the guardrails just put you back in lane. Because if you get off path, those friends start coming back into your life, the dealer starts sending out a special deal. Well, if we're overconfident, we'll be like, yeah, look, I've done 4 weeks sober. I can reward myself this weekend. Why do you reward yourself? Because your brain's being wired to, your reward system is being wired differently. Right. Next on the list, I've got 1, which is your addiction. Your brain has changed. Ultimately, changed. Yeah? Number 2 is your confidence, overconfidence. Number 3, your triggers, your cues, the things that set you off. So again, I don't know if I have often mentioned on my podcast, but at least throughout my clients recently, I've gone through this story of where I'm saying a client realized that he wasn't actually taking the drugs on the Saturday evening. Now, he was physically, spiritually, mentally, emotionally, he was in the jacks taking drugs on that Saturday. But actually what happened was that Tuesday evening when he was feeling bored, that Wednesday evening when he was stressed with his partner giving out, that actually set him to send a message into the group chat. And right there and then, that was the big problem. That was the number one way he went to take drugs that weekend, because he couldn't deal with that boredom. He couldn't deal with that stress. So he wasn't out last weekend, the weekend before. So he says to the boys, look, it's been a few weeks. What are we doing this weekend? And then boom, the boys got 3 drinks in, 4 drinks in. The bag gets ordered. The boys, dopamine, adrenaline, they go flying up, just absolute. The buzz of waiting for that dealer to arrive is great. But that's a trick, ultimately. That's a trick. It's definitely a trick. It's a trap. So the problem was on that Tuesday, Wednesday evening. It wasn't on that Saturday night, although he had many outs, or you have many outs between now and Saturday. Between Tuesday and Saturday, you have many outs. Ultimately, not going there would have been a fantastic way. But there's many cues. Being like a credit card could be a cue. A bottle clinking could be a cue. Some sort of text message could be a cue. A deal could be a cue, or new stock there could be a cue. Trigger for you. And if you just constantly had triggers all day, every day, eventually it's going to be too much. And it's not rocket science to say that. It really isn't. Willpower has fatigue. If week in, week out, you're getting stressed, and then you have your friends saying, look, let's just go out for 1 or 2 drinks, which we all know it's not 1 or 2, which is another trap. Well, eventually you're going to say, sure, why not? It's 1 or 2 drinks. It's been 6 weeks. But we know it's a trap. Next on the list is sometimes the withdrawals just constantly feel forever. They just feel endless. The withdrawals of nothing to do this weekend, the withdrawals of the anxiety or the low energy or insomnia, just staying up, thinking, planting, reaping all of the drug weekends you've had, feeling upset because of the times you regretted doing this and you regretted doing that. Of why not take it? It wasn't that bad. Withdrawals can kill people, meaning that it's just so devastating, so upsetting, so sore that it's better to take drugs than it is to be sitting in the withdrawals. But it's not true. The withdrawals ultimately have to happen. Your brain has been wired to crave this thing. You have to feel some withdrawals. You have to grieve cocaine. Just get it out of your system, literally. Metaphysically, it's wired so much in there. It's unbelievable. Right, next on the list, number 5, I believe. And number 5 is you're unsure and have lost coping mechanisms. Meaning, the number one reason why someone takes drugs is stress. Me and you, probably lads sitting here listening to this podcast, we think, I'm not stressed. I'm not stressed. Look, I'm a man. I don't get stressed. And it's true. In many ways, you don't get stressed. But let's play a little imagination game. If I say, okay, let's just close our eyes. We're sitting on a beach in Cancun and we're looking at blue skies and there's beautiful people walking by. You see the kids laughing on the beach playing football. You see the banana boat out there. And I asked, seriously, how do you feel right now if you visualize that? How do you feel? You'd say, I feel good. I feel joy. I feel peace. And I would ask you, how much of an emotion on a scale of 1 to 10 do you feel? How much intensity are they? And the answer would be around 3, 4, right? Intensity. But it's a lovely, wholesome feeling. So it's a quiet confidence. It's a quiet feeling. But the same thing is for the stress. So what do I mean by that is where, that person cut you off in traffic. It's the old thing that people say in the podcast, person cut you off in traffic. It's like, that doesn't matter. But did it get 1 point on you? Did they get one of the 3 or 4 intensity scales? You come in from work or your boss give out to you in work, or you maybe just are in debt to the dealers. Does that accumulate? Does that stay in your emotional well-being on a day-to-day basis? So you're not stressed. If I looked at you, I wouldn't know you're stressed. But are you a little bit? Or are you a lot of bit under the surface, under the hood? So you've lost the coping mechanisms to deal with that stress, to deal with that boredom. These emotions are very common for every single person in the world. But an addict is taking drugs when they're hot, when they're happy, when they're sad, when they're bored, when they're stressed, when they're upbeat, when they're energized, when they're depressed, when they're anxious. So they've integrated all of these emotions, and the coping mechanism is cocaine. Cocaine gets you out of stress. You go feel great for them few hours. And I say cocaine, drugs, let's call a spade a spade. 95% bad, 5% good. Let's call it spade a spade. But that 5% is killing and destroying a lot of your life. Number 6 on the list, last one on my list here. It's, again, unlimited answers to this question. Why is the relapse rate so high at 85% over 1 year? I say that meaning that I don't want to trigger you to relapse and go, well, I'm just part of one of the statistics and then quit. You're probably going to be part of one of the statistics, but you better get back on the horse. Number 6, unresolved root causes. Now, I put in brackets on my blog, these are not important. Why? Because, again, the old man, the strong man says, look, these don't matter. That thing that happened 15 years ago, in fact, that thing has no relevance to today. And I used to believe that a lot too. I used to think that I could just keep saying that it doesn't matter, and it doesn't matter, and it doesn't matter. And that's true. but it's also very, very inaccurate. Because when you do think of that thing, person, place, idea, identity, time, and we've all got them things, 2, 3, 4 of those things that we regret, we feel upset by. And once that thing comes up on a Tuesday evening, the boredom, the stress, and then Saturday, or we text the lags group, then Saturday comes around when we're taking drugs. Was it that thing that happened this week? Did that idea, thing, time, memory, trauma come up that set you on this journey? That you feel bad in bed one night on a Wednesday evening, on a Wednesday night, you feel bad, you're thinking about this time, person, place, idea that's got you so upset over the past few years. It's something that you're clutching onto, that therefore the next day you say, look, it's Thursday. Are we going out for a drink this weekend? Unresolved root causes. And what I mean by that is where that thing, person, place, time, identity, whatever it is, has ultimately just got kind of pushed over to the side, and you want to keep putting up a charade of saying it doesn't matter, keep pushing it to the side, it doesn't matter, rather than embracing it, looking at it, viewing it differently, viewing it in a more positive light. Because when you do view it in a more positive light, you won't need to take cocaine. You won't need to go take that substance to hide, to run, to escape that emotion, that thing. It's sad. It's sad that we don't, let's say, recognize or appreciate or understand the root cause of these things. If I was cutting my grass and there's a weed there and I just keep cutting the grass, that weed's going to keep growing every single week. That weed's going to grow, apart from the winter. That would keep growing and keep growing until I got into that root of that thing. And see, that's the ultimate challenge that people have right there with addiction, particularly around this root cause issue. And a lot of people say, I don't have a root cause. And it's like, we all have root causes for many things, for everything, in fact. So if you just keep cutting that grass, what's going to happen tomorrow, the next day, the week after? It's going to grow again. Now, if you got to the root cause and you change the root cause, you change the meaning of that, well, your whole life's going to be different in many ways, in fact, because instead of putting in a weed growing out of that specific spot, out of that specific moment, memory, time, place, instead of a weed growing out of there, there's going to be a lovely flower, a lovely dandelion, a rose. There's going to be a lovely, I don't know, whatever you want to plant, something lovely that you're going to plant in there. You get to choose what you plant in there, but getting that support to recognize and look at that and changing it is very impactful. If you are ready to start your recovery journey, feel free to reach out. Reach out to betterhelp.com, reach out to garytheexpert.com. I am offering a free discovery call initially at the start for at least this next year of 2025. I hope that you can commit to getting help. Recently, people have been booking calls, which is amazing, but they booked them at 4 a.m. They booked them at 2 a.m. And I would wish that you made a conscious, sober decision to seek and get help and commit to getting help rather than 4 a.m., which is, again, it's still fine. But when you're high, feeling regret, feeling shame on that X-rated website for 4 hours, if you're feeling, then I wish you would do it on a sober, consistent basis, that you would reach out for help then. Like I mentioned, I go by Gary the Expert. If you're dry sniffing your own bedroom on your own, or you're out partying each weekend and you're spending 60 to 150 euro, maybe even more a week, which is a very common practice, it's time to get help. You don't need an expert to tell you that. It's obvious. It's clear as day. I hope you have a fantastic upcoming period of your life. If you do want support, reach out. Links are in the description of this. If you're feeling good about this podcast, give it a rating. That would be much appreciated. Like and subscribe, comment below, maybe question, query you have. I'm more than happy to get back to it. If you're struggling with relapsing, get support. If you're struggling with not following through on your word, get support. It's not rocket science. Not getting help is giving up. Getting help is not giving up. If you don't get help, you're giving up. If you do get help, you're not giving up. My book is Never Give Up. That's on Amazon, #1. It was in the free section as well. Gonna love you and leave it. Have a great day. Have a great upcoming week. I'll see you in the next episode. Thank you.